This is Breanna Rutter from howtoblackhair.com, and I will be teaching you how to do cornrow braids with weave. To begin, make sure that you first are determining exactly the width you want your braids to be. So use the end of your rat tail comb to part a section of hair that goes from the front of your head to the very back of your head. Make sure that as you're nearing the back, that the width of your braids become a little bit thinner, so that way you can effectively braid all of your braids to the very back of your head. After that, detangle your section of hair and then apply a little bit of hair gel to the ends to keep your hair slick as you're braiding. Now, take your bundle of braiding hair and pinch off a section of hair that you are going to be using to create your cornrow braid. Now, once you pinch that section off, divide this hair into two parts. One part will be a third of the original size and one part will be 2/3. Now grab the smallest size, which is the 1/3, wrap it around the biggest length, which is the 2/3, so that way you have 3 equal legs of a braid. Now take your dominant hand, your thumb, index, and middle finger, and pinch it where the two parts meet. Now grab your other hand and insert it through to hold the hair, and wrap your hand around so that you can put one of the legs between your pincher finger of your thumb and your index. Grab a very small section of hair in the front so that your braid starts at your hairline. And then what you're going to do when you add it is that you're going to twirl your right hand to effectively take your index and go underneath the braid. Now, this may seem just a little bit confusing, but as you're watching the technique, you will notice that the same process is done with the left hand, and then back to the right hand, and then back to the left hand, over and over and over again to create a braid. So when you're creating a braid, every time you have 2 legs of your braid in one hand, you have to twirl that hand to the outer side, so that way you can loop your index underneath and grab an outer leg. The best way of knowing how to cornrow braid is to follow along as you are watching the tutorial, because as you are seeing the movements, you can mimic them yourself to effectively create a cornrow braid. So now with the free hand, grab that one leg, twirl this hand on the outer edge, insert your index, scoop up the hair that was on the outer edge so that that became the middle leg. Now, as you see it more at a faster pace, you will understand that the same process is done on both sides, but as always, you can watch this tutorial in the slower version and make sure that you are doing the exact same movements to create your braid. So now more of a faster speed, you will notice that as the braid leaves the scalp, you can simply move your hands across to braid down to the ends. Now I'm going to show you this cool trick to make sure that all of your braids are equal in length. You want to grab all of the braids and smooth them up to make sure that you're grabbing them at their length, so that way as you look at your ends, you can tell which braids are shorter and longer. Now in order to make your braids even, you have to cut the end of the braid where you want it to end. You want to cut it straight across. After that, you're going to take down the tip of the braid just a little bit, and then you're going to cut the loose hairs at an angle. So that way, when you re-braid it, the tip of the braid comes to a point, and it looks like what it originally should look like with tapered ends. After you do this, you're going to grab different size cold water wave rollers, so that way you can dip the rollers into the water without it bringing up a lot of water with it. Because if you use a sponge roller, it's going to hold a lot of water. As you're twirling the end, make sure that once you finish twirling the tips, that you roll the length of the braid against itself, and then you're going to put the plunger on the other side to close it off. Now, be very careful and lower each braid one at a time until enough braids can fit into the cup. You don't want to stuff your cup of hot water to the point where it's spilling out or to where you can't effectively do all of your braids. Only do enough braids that you feel that the cup has room for, or a bowl, or whatever you're choosing to do this with. Now once you're pulling out, make sure your towel is in front of you so that it catches all of the hot water and steam without it burning you or dripping onto your clothes. And then you're going to squeeze it dry, and when it's dry, you're going to carefully unravel the rollers from the tips of the curl, because you don't want to disturb the curl or ruin it since it's still warm. After you do that, you're going to just snip off the little bitty ends if you notice it's not looking as consistent as the entire curl. Now the reason for using different size rollers is because it's going to prevent the tips from clumping together. If each of the curls are the same exact size, they all start to clump. But if you use different size rollers, you're making sure that your curls stand out and they don't clump together. because this is the finished results after cornrow braiding and curling the ends of your hair. Now, a very easy and quick style you can do is that you can create a little side bun with your braids if you don't want to wear the braids down. So make a ponytail, braid all the way to the ends, and then grab this braid and wrap it around itself into a continuous circle, and then you're going to use bobby pins along the way to keep the bun pinned to your head. So as you can see, this is a very simple cornrow braid style you can do when you're incorporating extensions into your braids. Now this tutorial is simply showing you straight to the back cornrow braids, but in order to create different designs, all you have to do is part your partings in different ways. Now when you're taking it down, it's extremely easy. Just use your fingers, pinch off the very bottom to start separating the legs of the braid, and then continue working your way up very gently. Now every time you're taking down your braids, to make sure you're preventing damage, you want to smooth your hands down the length of your braids so that way you're smoothing your hair out of the braid. Thanks for watching the cornrow braid tutorial. For more hairstyles and updates, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Breanna Rutter.